Thank you for coming tonight. It's so lovely to see everyone. Well, the first meeting of the year, actually the first meeting of the decade. Hey, that's pretty special, isn't it? Well, tonight's topic is entitled The Mystic Bridge, a Lightworker's Guide or Working with Energy, and subjects to inspire discussion, and that's really what this whole process is about. The idea is to inspire discussion afterwards so that we can all learn from each other's experiences, which I think is a really good thing to do. The whole of our conscious existence has to do with feeling and interacting with energy. That's what we all do, really, isn't it? In a very general sense and in a spiritual sense. The macro, the micro, or the very big and the very small. From gazing up into the night sky at the stars of our own Milky Way galaxy, looking out through our galaxy, to gazing upon a leaf or a blade of grass that we might happen to hold in our hand. There are different kinds of energy that anyone a little sensitive will feel. The real trick is learning how to make sense of this energy so that we can apply ourselves to any kind of spiritual path. And everyone's path is unique because as individuals, we are all unique expressions of the divine. But even though this is the case, we can all agree that the energy we work with can all be placed into 4 main groups. Of course, in a more accurate sense, everything connects to everything else, and so really there's no actual separation between forms, only patterns within patterns that exist within one almighty, unified field. And we, all of us, are made up of these patterns, as well as everything else around us. But this being said, all things considered, it is still acceptable to petition off groups of energy in order to make the subject of spiritual work more understandable, so that we can firstly perform our tasks more accurately and do more work that is balanced, and secondly, so that we can make these subjects more teachable, so that we can pass on wisdom and healing techniques. And it is with this in mind that we tend to break down the energies around us into the 4 major groups. The first group, these are the living energies of the people around us. This includes both those in our immediate environment as well as those at a distance. And also it includes the collective energy of everyone on the planet. When we tap into the energy of individuals, the whole process naturally becomes a personal thing, as with a healing or a reading. And when we tap into the collective or mankind as a whole, we begin to feel the future of humanity, where we are going and where we should be going, where we went wrong maybe, and how we can change things for the better, how we can change our future for the better. Okay, so that's the first group. The people around us and the people at a distance, and the global collective. Okay, so what's the second group? This is the animal kingdom, and we separate mankind from the animals for reasons that we can go into a little later. The energy of the animal kingdom is much more reactive and instinctive, and has more of a feeling and purely empathic dimension to it and to life. This energy is more naturalistic in contrast to mankind's energy, inasmuch that it is far more primal and connected in this natural way. And when we use the word connected here, it is in relation to the seasons and the natural cycles and the energy of the planet as a whole, in the holistic sense or holistic sense. The animal kingdom has not become separated from Mother Nature in the way that the majority of mankind has, and the animal kingdom is said to be true nature or of its true nature. So that's the second group, the animals around us that share our planet. Moving on to the third group. And this brings us in contact with the energy of the natural environment, the energy of the trees, the plant life, the flowers. And this natural energy also includes the clouds and the atmosphere above us, and the sea and the land all around us, and the earth beneath us. The core of the planet is included here, and the Meridian force that rises up from the core of the planet, the lifeblood of Gaia. This brings us on to the fourth group. The fourth group takes us into the spheres of the supernatural. And in a way, everything is supernatural or of super nature. But the fourth group specifically has to do with the spiritual dimensions that are all around us all the time, the energy of those who have moved onto the higher and healing blessed levels that are above mortal existence. And this moving on is in accordance with divine mechanics and law. In other words, it's a natural process. So we're not including trapped souls in this group due to the trapped coming about through the collective and inappropriate use of mankind's free will. And so the fourth group, in this respect, and through being accurate with our explanation of these groups, will consist of all those spirits who have moved on naturally into a blessed existence. So there we have it, in a nutshell, in a universal energetic nutshell. These are the four groups of universal energy within the subject of divine mechanics. As we're laying it down here, or to put this another way, the energy that has been ordained to be in existence. Okay, so let's have a look at the last group, the subgroup, if you like. The group that was not originally intended to be here from a universal balance point of view. Let's have a look at the group that comes about through mankind treading a destructive path, either individually or as a collective. Let's look at the subgroup of trapped spirit. The split away group comprises of those souls who have become lost along the way and have become earthbound as a result of this losing one's way. And there are many ways that someone can become lost to the blessed realms. But very loosely, sometimes it has to do with the individual's improper use of free will. For example, the choices a person has made during their life, the actions they've carried out, etc. And sometimes it has to do with souls becoming trapped due to another person's improper use of free will, or indeed a group's improper use of free will. For example, a battlefield where soldiers are being forced to fight against their will, the battlefield creating a spiritually turbulent area that's hard to break through and that holds innocent souls back, which in turn prevents them from moving on and healing, finding salvation. The blessed spirits in heaven that can visit and guide us and heal us are very, very different to those souls who are trapped in the wrong place, in this case, mortal realm. How can this situation be helped? Well, this brings us into the spiritual field of rescue work and serious light work in order that the divine might address the off-balance and bring about justice where previously there has only been injustice. Those who are trapped need our help in order to heal and move on to the higher levels and ascend to heaven. And this places us, all of us, in an extremely privileged position, a position of great responsibility. The realm structure above us is like a series of steps, and we, everyone who occupies the mortal level, occupy one step. And those spirits who are trapped can be seen as occupying a lower step, the one directly beneath us. And so, due to spiritual energy needing to flow up the stairs, the cascading stepped waterfall, without skipping a step, and because of spiritual energy needing to move with balance, we become the bridge between the lower and the higher levels, or the lower and the higher frequencies, which you can call heaven. The higher frequencies can be called heaven. And this higher frequency is where all those lost souls need to be. We can help through being a medium for spirit, or a medium through which spirit can flow. This work is very involved, and it can really only be entered into through the permission of those occupying the blessed realms, the higher dimensions. Or to put this another way, this work can only be entered into through the permission of our spirit guides. Only those who are blessed can guide us through such work, and through such work we can be of great service to the divine in a purely spiritual sense. We can take our place in this magnificent cosmic plan, a plan that grants justice and healing to everyone. Through following guidance from above, we are placed in the fortunate position of being able to help those below us who are stranded and, like I say, for a good reason. We call this type of spiritual work rescue work. So channeling is the one way that we use this energetic conduit, this bridge, as with the first 4 groups we've discussed. The divine energy moving from above and down through us into the physical dimension, and then rescuing is the other way to use this bridge, as with the subgroup of trapped spirit, trapped realm, the spiritual energy moving from below up through us into heaven. And I think you can tell from my enthusiasm when I talk about this subject. I think you can tell just how wonderful and exciting it is to be involved in such beautiful spiritual work. So, in summary of these energetic levels, planes, we have mankind, the animal kingdom, the natural world, trees, plant life, and the spiritual world, the supernatural. These are the 4 groups within divine creation. But then we have the subgroup, which is outside of the original creation, the group of trapped realm. Again, all connected and overlapping, but all can be seen as separate in the interest of understanding and working with energy. It makes the whole subject of light working simpler and easier to deal with, easier to get your head around. I would like to add the fact that mankind is really quite special. I'd like to state this fact, and I don't mean this in any kind of egocentric way, but we are special. And the reason for this is because out of all the groups that we've looked at, we are the only group that can, through following higher guidance, bridge the gap between the purely grounded world of nature and the purely empathic and intellectual world of spirit. And through this bridge, we can help higher frequency energy, higher healing energy, to enter the physical dimension through us from the higher levels, channeling. And we can also help the lost souls who are earthbound find their way to the spiritual dimensions and effectively find heaven, rescuing. One bridge, sometimes called the Mystic's Bridge or the Mystic Path. One bridge, and like most bridges, there can be movement, passage, both ways, In this way, we are the mystic bridge, we are the mystic path. Pretty special, that. The next section is called A More In-Depth Look at Feeling and Working with Energy. Let's now take a look at the Meridian force. What is it? Well, it's the almighty energy force that flows from the core of the planet up to the surface, energizing, cleansing, rejuvenating all of life on planet Earth. This is an extremely important life-sustaining energy that heals us emotionally as well as physically. Encouraging more flow of this energy system into our bodies, our systems, can only be a good thing. It is possible to be cut off from this very large energy field to some degree due to the way that we tend to live our lives. We are not living close to nature anymore. We live in boxes, and we are not connected to the seasons like we used to be. Unless we are self-sufficient and grow our own food, we are simply not that closely knit with Mother Earth these days. We rely on our food coming from supermarkets rather than from the land directly. And with all these factors present, you can see that it is actually quite easy, sadly, to lose the rhythms of life, the rhythms that we used to experience daily and on a strong level without even thinking about it. The rhythms that mean all the difference to a good crop and a good crop yield and a healthy body and a healthy mind and spirit. So how do we encourage more flow, more connection with this life-sustaining energy field? Well, in practice, over a period of time, these things become automatic through applying ourselves to spiritual things. For example, you might lose some of your bioenergy through healing someone and maybe getting too involved on a personal, emotional level. And then without even thinking, you find yourself naturally pulling up the energy that you've lost, tapping into Mother Earth from the Meridian and pulling this force up through your feet. And you find emotional, physical equilibrium once again. And your physical body is rejuvenated. And this process becomes instinctive, like an intuitive thing to do, an automatic thing to do. And when you're feeling drained or emotionally compromised in some way, you reach towards the life force of the planet and you let the Meridian heal you in whichever way you need to be healed. And again, through applying ourselves to spiritual things, we begin to engage in this practice automatically. Shall we take a look at a visualization that can help along this all-important process of connection? I've called this practical, to feel the Meridian force most deeply. Close your eyes. With feet firmly on the ground, and even if you're on the first floor up or in a block of flats, still put your feet firmly on the floor. Traditionally, it's nice to do this exercise out in nature with your shoes and socks off, touching grass or soil. But if you can't do this, then simply do what you can. Feet on the floor. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And breathe out. And again, deep breath in. Hold it. And breathe out. And as you breathe out, allow yourself to relax. And visualize in your mind's eye roots like the roots of a tree pushing down from the soles of your feet and from the base of your spine through the earth towards the core of the planet. Pushing down, down, down through the earth and connecting you to the center of Mother Earth. You can feel the warm, sparkly Meridian energy being drawn up through your roots, up, up, up into your physical body as you breathe in. And it's a natural thing as you breathe in. Feel the energy moving up through your roots and into your body. Okay, that's good. Let's move on now to another area of energy work that is also extremely important in our day-to-day lives and in our practice. I've entitled this section Protecting Ourselves from Low Sources of Energy and Energy Vampires. So we've looked at the good energy that's out there that we need to connect with, that's good for us and good for our spiritual practice. Now, what about the bad? What about the bad energy that's out there? The energy that we need to keep away from. What can we do about this energy? And what can we do to protect ourselves? Low sources of energy will drain you. And when you're actually having energy taken away from you in this way, by either someone in your vicinity or an area that is negative in some way, the experience of this negative flow will feel different for everyone, but for the most part it feels like an aching or a dull sensation around the heart area, coupled with a sensation of annoyance or anger deep in the stomach. And this is all part of your intuition telling you that something is wrong and needs to be addressed. In other words, there's something that's out of kilter around you that needs your attention and that can't be ignored. Okay, so let's focus on one main area of this subject. Let's focus on vampires. What is an energy vampire? What is meant by this? Well, the term vampire is used to describe someone who drains your energy. Everyone knows someone like this. Some of these vampires drain your energy by talking to you about all kinds of negative things. This is a technique, sometimes quite personal things. They then go about their merry way feeling much better from the buzz they've received from this underhand energy exchange. And that's what it is. They've stolen something from you without your consent. Some vampires know what they are doing. In other words, they do it intentionally. And some vampires don't even know what they are. The first group is far more dangerous to your energy system than the last group. The vampire that knows what they're doing can leave you feeling drained for many days, and sometimes you can simply get away from these people, walk away from them, and have nothing to do with them. But sometimes you can't, like with a colleague or a family member. These are people that you have to interact with. And so in these cases, we need a device that will protect us, or some kind of practice that can shut us down energetically so that we don't give anything away, so that we don't waste our energy on those people who are simply feeding, and feeding in a gluttonous way. And that's what a low source of energy is doing. It's someone or something that simply wastes energy or light, like flushing it down a dirty drain. So as light workers, we have a responsibility to protect that which is divine and that which is divinely given. And we have a responsibility to give nothing away willy-nilly, especially to someone who is just going to feed on our positive energy and then waste it. To understand this subject of vampires more, let's look at what's actually happening within someone who is a low source of energy. Well, predominantly, something is going wrong with their heart energy, their heart chakra in particular. In simple terms, in respect to the vampire, you can visualize this heart doorway, this spinning wheel, as going backwards against the natural flow, the natural life force. And as it spins backwards, it simply sucks everything in like a black hole would. And the more energy the vampire sucks in, the larger the effect. So the heart chakra that is moving contrary to its natural healing flow and only sucking energy in will gather spiritual mass and become more and more negative over time. In other words, its effects will become more destructive over time, more destructive to the environment and more destructive to the people in that environment. And also, the vampire will obviously become more destructive to themselves through being such a low source of energy. They will become more bitter and angry, and in the end it will be impossible for them to see and connect with anything good in the world. If someone comes to you for a healing or for any sort of spiritual help who is a vampire, whether they know it or not, you cannot help them. The only person that can help them is themselves. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves from such things, such negative dynamics? Firstly, there are crystals that protect our energy and shut us down. Something like a large piece of hematite held around the heart will do the job nicely. Also, from the point of view of a practical exercise, there are ways we can simply close down and dim our light, which effectively prevents low sources of energy from stealing anything valuable from us. If you can feel your heart chakra, you will then gain control of it. If you can feel your heart opening and closing, it will then be possible to control this important spiritual muscle that both gives and receives energy in a balanced way, balancing the whole of your energy system and also your environment and the people around you, big stuff happening with the heart. Would you like to try a quick exercise for protection? Getting hold of the heart chakra doorway, opening and closing it. Yeah? Okay. Close your eyes again and take a deep breath in. Hold it. And breathe out. That's good. Again, deep breath in. Hold it. And breathe out. And as you breathe out, begin to relax most deeply. That's good. Good. A simple visualization will help us to connect with our heart energy doorway, allowing us to open that door and close that door. Visualize a large rosebud facing out from your heart, and the rosebud is opening very slowly, naturally opening, and you can feel this opening. There's a warm, fuzzy sensation around your heart as you do this, and you begin to feel open and connected to everything around you. Enjoy this sensation of being open, of giving out good energy and receiving good energy. And this process is a cyclic affair. And it's a very natural process to be a part of. And it feels very good when you're in good company. Continue to feel these sensations for a while longer and see and feel the rose, your heart, open completely. Now, in order to close down, and in contrast to what you are feeling right now, I would like you to visualize an open doorway. A doorway to your heart. The door is wide open at present. Now, I would like you to visualize holding the door and then sharply slamming it shut. And I would like you to feel the difference in your heart energy from open to closed. Do that now. When you can feel this process happening, this closing, however gentle it might feel at first, you can then make it happen. You can make it happen more easily, more readily. Even without using the visuals, but the visual aid helps in the beginning. It's like learning to open and close your hand for the first time. You need to feel the muscles in your hand tightening and opening before you can take control of this process in a more conscious way. Feel the tightness around your heart from slamming the door closed. Well done. Could you feel it? That's good.